Welcome to your free gift presentation, 3 Steps to Relax Your Cramps. I'm Tara Raphael, CEO and primary Earth Mother of Wise Womanhood, Holistic Women's Health, and I believe that women can have comfortable and calm menstrual cycles without taking painkillers and hormones. Are your menstrual cramps cramping your style? Feel like you're battling your body? Are you out of sync with who you really are? You're tired of so much pain with every period. It makes you wish you weren't a woman sometimes. Well, you're not alone. Uterine problems, cramps, mood swings, and other female curses are rampant. Statistics show it, and you know it. More serious levels of female imbalance like premenstrual dysphoria disorder, PCOS, fibroids, and endometriosis are way too common. Do you have one of these related disorders? They need special attention. Mainstream medicine tells you just take these pills. They will control your pain, or birth control pills will control your cycle and your cramps. But you have a bad feeling about pain relievers. Overdoses can cause permanent organ damage or death, and hormone pills can have serious side effects too. Or maybe you've tried them and lost your libido, gotten depressed, or gained weight. Anyways, taking pain pills or hormones is just a cover-up. Your body can relax your cramps for the long term only when you give it what it needs. So why are women suffering so much from being a woman? One of the biggest reasons is women often don't know what their bodies need, so they can befriend their femaleness instead of fighting it. This might be part of your struggles with cramps. Other women know what to do, but haven't gotten the support they require to create the needed long-term habits of health. When my generation of women entered traditionally male occupations, we rejected the idea that women's bodies needed different routines and care than men's did. We wanted to be equal. We accepted the male model as the norm for us to aspire to, rejecting signs that we had cycles or cramps or a uterus that might get irritated. We have suffered because of that, but you needn't continue that legacy of denial and pain. There is a way to be friends with your femaleness, to love being a woman and relax your monthly cramps. Your dislike of your female cycles can be replaced by love for yourself and your life. Fully empowered, turned on, and expressing your creative energy to the maximum. Knowing and honoring our womanly bodies is the key. Most women I've worked with had only the vaguest notion about how their bodies were arranged and they worked. Because they weren't educated, they didn't know how to support their female bodies to work in a smooth way without cramps. Knowledge is an important first step. Today, I'm going to introduce you to a few basics about female bodies. This is just a taste of how to befriend your powerful femaleness and a beginning towards relieving your menstrual cramps. The uterus and ovaries are the core of female cycles. The uterus is about the size of your fist and includes 3 layers of muscles. It's the strongest muscle of the human body. Its inner chamber is lined with the endometrium, which secretes a lining shed each month as menses when pregnancy doesn't occur. The left view on the slide shows a woman standing. The uterus is suspended just above the bladder, about an inch above the pubic bone. The vagina is right behind the bladder and the colon behind the vagina. Notice where the white egg-like ovary is situated, above the uterus. The drawing on the right is looking down into the pelvis. The bladder is the brownish sac at the top. Moving down the picture, we see the uterus which is suspended in the pelvis by a sheet of tissue called the broad ligament, kind of like a trampoline. This and other ligaments usually keep the uterus in place while allowing it to grow when pregnancy does occur. However, this trampoline arrangement makes the uterus vulnerable to movement, which can irritate it or cut off good circulation. That is one possible route for your cramps to come from, and so we want to avoid that. Another fascinating fact that most women don't know is that their uterus actually gets larger later in the cycle, doubling in size from the time of ovulation from about 3 to 4 ounces to just before your period, when it's about 6 to 8 ounces. This explains why the uterus is vulnerable just before the period. A heavier uterus plus that trampoline, and if you add jarring movements, it equals an irritable or out-of-place uterus. The tipped uterus is shown in this slide. It most often tips back. Other times the uterus is tipped to one side instead of backwards, or it can prolapse, usually later in life, descending downward. The uterus goes out of place when there is trauma, jarring, lifting heavy objects, or other causes during vulnerable times when the uterus is heavy just before and during the period, and also in the postpartum time after giving birth. This tipping of the uterus can reduce blood flow, causing poor hormonal communications, as well as blocking nutrition for the muscles of the uterus and the eggs and the ovaries. A tipped uterus is a common problem medical doctors consider a normal variation because about 30% of women have their uterus out of place. The ovaries are important not only for making an egg which can make a baby, they also make hormones that affect how your cycles happen and whether a fertilized egg will get to plant into your womb and grow. Each of the 2 ovaries is about the size of an almond. These actual photos of ovulation are really amazing. They show the whitest background in the photo, which is the ovary. The yellowish globule is the egg itself emerging at ovulation. The reddish swelling is the chosen follicle out of the many which develop each cycle, producing estrogen. After ovulation, the follicle turns white and makes progesterone, maintaining the lining of the uterus for about 10 to 14 days unless the egg is fertilized, in which case it continues for the first trimester of pregnancy. When the follicle dies, a period will be happening soon. This slide shows the uterine lining responding to the changing hormones over time. It releases as a period days 1 through 3, then builds again as estrogen from the ovary increases. Below the drawing of the uterine lining is the corresponding change taking place in the follicles of the ovary. As the follicles are developing, more estrogen is produced, and one egg is readied for ovulation. After ovulation, which is marked by the vertical red line, the burst open follicle becomes the corpus luteum, creating progesterone, which causes new changes in the endometrium or lining, making it hospitable for a fertilized egg to plant in and develop. The uterine lining breaks down when estrogen and progesterone both fall with the death of the corpus luteum. Then prostaglandins are produced in the lining to break it down and allow menses to flow. Prostaglandins are important in many kinds of menstrual cramps because too much of the bad ones cause irritation of the uterus and extra cramps and pain to follow. So just what are menstrual cramps? The uterine muscles squeeze out the menstrual lining when there is no pregnancy during that cycle. The muscles are stimulated to contract and the lining to fall off by prostaglandins. This is not necessarily a painful process. Menstrual cramps are dull, throbbing, or cramping pains in the lower abdomen. Many women experience varying levels of discomfort with menstrual cramps just before and during their periods. Painful cramping is felt when the nerves in the area are sensitized. the flow of blood is blocked, causing the muscles to be hyperstimulated, or when there is an excess uterine lining which must be expelled. Other women feel discomfort due to endometriosis or other disease processes which relate to the uterine lining. These deeper problems need more specialized attention. So, menstrual cramps have several different causes possible, and finding out what your personal causes are will give you the key to preventing them. So, what causes cramping? One source is blockage of the flow of the energy or the blood caused by a pinhole cervix, malposition of the uterus, fibroids, or energetic blocks. Another cause is inflammation brought on by a lack of circulation from a displaced uterus, too much estrogen leading to a thicker lining, and by bad prostaglandins, which can come from your body source or from dietary sources. Let me tell you a little more about prostaglandins. Many of the prostaglandins are actually healthy and have a beneficial effect on the body. Without them, the lining of the uterus wouldn't properly break down and flow out. However, there are two types of bad prostaglandins which can be increased in some women. PGF2 alpha is a type that works to reduce the blood flow to the womb tissue, and PGE2 is a highly inflammatory substance that can trigger muscle contractions and increase the sensitivity of your nerve endings to pain. Research shows that women with menstrual cramps have significantly higher levels of both of these bad prostaglandins. The levels of prostaglandins tend to be low in the first half of the cycle and then rise sharply towards your period, and can cause a variety of other symptoms because they can actually be in any cell in your body. And those other symptoms include such things as headaches, nausea, and fatigue. Now that you know what a cramp is and what causes them, you can take 3 steps to relax menstrual cramps. You will also receive a PDF of these 3 steps later in your email to remind you and support you in your change. Rest while you're releasing. All of these steps revolve around taking a rest while you're releasing. I'm talking about a rest you take before calamity starts, just as a routine part of honoring yourself as a woman, not because you are in terrible pain. And this rest happens even when the calamities aren't happening anymore. It's a natural monthly time to rest, to release, reset, and restore your female system, just as each day you rest through sleep to restore your system at nighttime. Why bother resting? Well, cramps are related to an imbalance around female hormones and the uterus. The period is a time of reset. Hormones are low, getting ready to start a new cycle. It's a fresh beginning, so avoiding irritations can set up less future irritation. Taking it easier when the uterus is heavier, just before and at the beginning of the period, helps prevent irritation or displacement of the uterus, which can cause menstrual cramping. Traditional healers and common sense tell us it's a time when energy goes into releasing what is no longer needed. Resting out or activity allows more energy to go into that reset and release. I never would have believed that resting and releasing would make such a big difference until I tried it myself. It really helped. I was less moody and less crampy. Even though I got less done for a couple of days, the rest of the month I had more energy than before. So I actually ended up getting more done in the long run, while still taking time to honor my female cycle. How can you rest while you release? Number 1, Choose more restful, peaceful choices just before and during your menses. Here are some simple suggestions on resting while releasing. We all know how to procrastinate. Do it for positive reasons during your period to let your body rest, release, and reset. Say later to whatever can wait and pamper yourself, period. Number 2, eat easily digested, lighter meals to let your energy go to cleansing rather than digesting. How to eat lighter and more digestible food? I can make individual recommendations when we do a consultation, but some general ideas for now are: favor smaller portions, room temperature or warmer food, and cooked rather than raw things. And avoid heavy desserts and foods. Just have a little dark chocolate if you want a little sweetness. Avoid cold foods and drinks, and avoid animal products to avoid arachidonic acid, or AA, which promotes those bad prostaglandins in your body. This means eliminating or at least reducing dairy. AA is also present in red meat, but is even higher in chicken and turkey. So to reduce bad prostaglandins, which can cause cramps, avoid animal products, especially during your period. Number 3, let the uterus rest, including nothing in the vagina during bleeding time. Don't shake your booty when your uterus is heavy. Any sports like snowboarding, surfing, mountain biking, gymnastics, or dancing with lots of jumping can irritate the uterus at this time or send it out of place. Tampons can irritate the cervix and the uterus and thus increase cramps in some women. They also confuse the downward energy key to healthy pelvic functioning. Vaginal sex also can irritate the uterus, causing cramps in the longer run because it confuses that downward energy of menstruation. Remember, this is only just before and during your period. You don't have to avoid these things all the time. You may have heard some of these suggestions before, but nothing changes by just hearing about it. We all know that changing habits is a process. Take a big step to let your cycle move you creatively through life instead of bringing you pain. If you don't change your unhealthy habits, you can look forward to worsening problems with your uterus. Or you'll have to suppress symptoms with drugs, which will only overload and confuse your system on top of the original problems. I know you want to avoid those menstrual disasters and have comfortable periods. Many other women have done it. It's all up to you to decide and make the commitment. Your cramps and any other menstrual symptoms are messages that your body is sending you that your womb and body is out of balance. I can help you learn how to read your own body so you can know what to do, and I can support you so that you can really do it. If you want to get past the cramps and step into loving being a woman, take the next step. Because you've watched this, I know you're interested, and this is just a taste of how I can support you. To go to the next level, I'm offering you a free 1-hour menstrual meeting where we'll clarify your goals for your menstrual cycle, identify your menstrual challenges, and any hidden obstacles that could sabotage your success. You'll leave the menstrual meeting feeling inspired and motivated to move forward with steps that will eliminate cramps for good. Others have done it. So can you. Like these 2 clients, you can overcome your menstrual problems when you make a commitment to work on it seriously and doing what it takes, just like they did. Heidi, she's so happy, and you can be too. To claim your free 1-hour menstrual meeting, follow these 5 steps. 1. Click the link below the video to go to my scheduling website. 2. Choose an available time that works for you. 3. Enter your contact information. Number 4, submit your scheduled appointment and mark your calendar. And number 5, be available for my call on the day and time you signed up for. I want to serve as many people as possible, but my time is limited, so this free session offer is on a first-come, first-served basis. If you want to successfully do what it takes to overcome cramps and have comfortable menstrual cycles, click the link below the presentation window now.